welcome to Gab and Jam, episode 216.
All right, so what are we talking about today?
All right, so this is a follow-up to episode 213, Goals for 2022, where we mentioned that we wanted to do more pre-planning for this coming year. So this episode is how to create a music-related content calendar.
Yes.
And it was inspired by the Creative Juice podcast, episode 197, which was how to plan for the year ahead in your music career.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so this episode has two layers to it. There are 3 things to consider before you even get started, and then there are the 7 steps for actually creating the content calendar.
Okay.
All right, so the 3 things to consider before you even get started is this may take a few days to complete. This is not one of those you fire things up and then within the hour you have everything nailed down.
Right.
So that's the first thing to consider. So, you might want to give yourself some leeway, some latitude, especially if this is the first time you're ever doing it.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing to consider. The second thing to consider is that you need to involve your entire group or team when you're planning. So if it's a band,
right,
you want to make sure that all the members are there to contribute, to remind you of things that you guys talked about as a group. And then any, that way you make sure that everybody's input is there, that when you get ready to delegate, you have people to delegate for that.
Yeah, and it seems like, too, if you're doing live performances, you may need to have contingencies in place.
Yeah, okay, I like that.
Because you don't know.
Yeah.
And so, especially if you're thinking about traveling overseas or anything like that, that you going to different states, not knowing what, protocols that they might have in place,
especially,
and what type of breakout might be going on or whatever else, where we might be at, what new variant may be out,
right.
You just things that you have to keep in mind as to, okay, so if this doesn't happen, then what do we do?
Right, and it's nice to have the entire group there in order to think through that.
Yeah, so alternate, income streams, just things like that, so that you're not taking for granted that X live date is going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
And then the third thing to consider is that the goal is not to be overwhelmed by the process, but to be excited about the plans that you have for the year, but then not to overplan.
Right.
So that's the one thing that I saw is I get ideas for let's do something, and then I look up and I'm like, yeah, but you said you're gonna do this, and this. Whereas at least if I see it on the calendar and say, oh, I'd already said I was gonna do this. Mm-hmm. So even if nothing else, just a reminder of the things I've already committed to.
Right.
All right. So here are the steps according to the Creative Juice podcast. The first thing is super simple. Grab out a year-long calendar that you can write on or type in so that you can see the entire year in front of you.
Right.
So that's an easy first step. All right. The second step is, and if you like to write, just make sure it has all the pages and all the dates. The second step for creating a year-long content calendar for your music is to put the big items that you know about in advance. So any releases, any performances, if you're doing, live streams, make sure all that stuff is already charted.
Right.
If you have a monthly stream, make sure whatever the dates are, that's already blocked out, because then that way not to, again, overplan. That is not.
Yeah, because you have to leave room for improvisation.
Yeah, or like you said, maybe possible switch of the plan, pivot of the plan.
Yep. So, somebody big may have the same release date as you or something like that, where you feel like, oh, well, I don't want to bump into that. So, so always be flexible with whatever you plan.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. And then the third thing is very simple for creating a year-long content calendar for your music is to add in holidays. And so I know for I'm trying to think, the other record labels podcast, the guy was talking about the advantages and disadvantages of holidays.
Yeah, because there are certain holidays that are working holidays.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain holidays that are kind of shutdown holidays. Mm-hmm. So, like, normally during the Christmas holiday, the record industry shuts down.
Right.
So, and I'm thinking maybe on Thanksgiving Day, things shut down.
Right.
But you have Black Friday, where maybe you do a Black Friday sale.
Yeah.
That is something that you can actually deal with. People do 4th of July sales.
Yeah.
4th of July might be a good time to do gigs and things like that. There might be all kinds of stuff happening where there's, an opportunity to get out and do something.
Or then even with the holidays, with the shutdown part, what that podcast was talking about, the fact that you are indie, that might be a good time to do a stream or do something where it's not a release, but it's something where majors, they're kicking back, but you can kind of lean forward.
You can, but
say,
the thing
just for my people.
I've also found is that people tend to be less active
on social media,
during that period of time. It's just more of a family type thing. And so, especially as we start to gravitate more towards normalcy, you're probably gonna find that you might not reach as many people during that period of time. You know, you might find your numbers go down as far as social media and that kind of stuff, just simply because of, you know, the holidays. It brings that. So yeah, that's true, that it is also a time where the majors aren't doing anything.
Yeah, and the guy was talking about that he did one where he was showing what they were eating for Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
And he was like, that one just took off because people were like, what? Like you sit around at a table with your family and have dinner? He was like, I didn't think it was a big deal, but I just did a super quick live stream, 7 minutes, and he was like, that was one of their widest shared posts. So again, you might want to sprinkle something in there, but you maybe nothing major. I understand that. That makes sense.
Yeah, and the type of content, you know, like it might be the time to share your Christmas song or whatever. Yeah. Or you sitting around doing carols with someone or something like that.
Yeah, that actually.
So just that type of content that you share
might be a little different. Okay, and so the fifth step for how to create a year-long content calendar for your music. The fourth step is to add content and promotions around those. So around the holidays, if you're doing sale or whatever else for 4th of July, make sure you put that in there so that, again, you pad out. So you can see, hey, well, a week before, we need to be doing this, this, and this. Or a month before, we need to be doing this, this, and this.
Right. So. And keep track of industry holidays, like, you know, Record Store Day.
Yeah, that's kind of one of our
keep track
favorites.
of those things so that, you know, you also can take advantage of that.
Yeah, and we do something for that we've done something for that every year for the past, 4 years. So that's just something that we do. Okay, so the fifth step for creating a year-long content calendar for your music is to look back at what you did last year, figure out what worked and what didn't. Yeah. And what worked, you definitely probably want to add that back in. And then what didn't, you probably want to ixnay that.
Yeah, let it go.
Yeah.
Or just figure out why it didn't. And if there are ways, if you understand why it didn't and you feel like you can make it better, then tweak it and make it better.
I like it. And that's one good reason to have the entire group with you. Because, you know, again, great minds, sometimes you need to jigsaw the ideas. People come at it differently. All right, the sixth step for creating a year-long content calendar for your music is to figure out what your goals are for this year. And you might want to look at your vision board for that. But is it to make money? Is it to find repeat customers? Is it to convince listeners to buy? So if you have any marketing / sales goals, those are the things to consider so that as you plan out content or promotion or anything like that, you can see places where you have more of an opportunity to nurture that type of goal.
Makes sense.
Within your year. All right, and then finally, the last step for creating a year-long content calendar for your music is once you have it all set up, you want to execute. So make sure you refer back to it. Refer back to it, get things done, and then I would add, they didn't have that in there, but track as you go. That's always been my new thing is track, because a lot of times things move so fast, like we were talking about last year and the year before, move so fast that I didn't even notice some of the things that we did until I went back to actually look at the tracking. I looked at, we did do this. We did do that. We said we were going to do this, but so if you're conscious of it and referring back to it often, that might be a little bit more apparent. But then again, things move so fast that once you execute, you want to make sure you track so that when you get ready to sit down and do this next year, especially for us, this will be our first time formally doing it. When we look back for the year, for next year, we'll be a lot wiser in how to plan better. I love it. So what do you think? Are you going to implement a year-long music content calendar? And what are some of the ways that you're looking to to use this particular tool. We'd love to hear about it. What else?
And Sugar Pet. You can stream it everywhere. You can get it from CD Baby. You can get it from Amazon.com. It's POURGEOISIE Paper Jam.
We love it.
Okay?
All right. If you dig the vibe and you want to be a part of the tribe, be sure to
Subscribe.
We're wishing you love, peace, and
chicken.
yay.